we'll be joined by many of your crafting favourites such as La Blanche, Totally Trisha, Sentimentally Yours, Crafts 2, Crafterscope and many more. Every live hour there'll be at least one product that will also include a bonus item. You don't need to do anything extra, just simply purchase that product and your bonus item will be sent automatically with your order. So don't forget to tune in on the 23rd of May at 6 p.m. for your bank holiday bonus.
New York, Paris, London. Where's Munich? Oh well. Not a song, but never mind. Welcome along. It is, of course, the home of our sunset specials. It is Hochanda, and good evening.
Are at the bottom of the screen, $6.99. That is a great deal for a mug like this.
I thought you'd say that's a great cup of...
Oh, it is a great cuppa as well. But lots of people are taking pictures of their mugs, not their mugs, of their faces, their mugs, and they're placing them on Facebook.
In various situations?
Yes. Yeah,
First
again,
thing in the morning?
Not their mugs. Their mugs
The
in
mugs.
various situations.
It's the latest must-have accessory. For
It is.
office and for home.
I'll tell you something else which is a must-have, is the deal of the day.
Oh, yes.
Which is a fantastic deal, it really is.
Now, I cannot get over the price and the value on this. I really, really can't. It's exceptional value for money. Over 60% off the price. It is down to less than £20 for a complete quilt kit. I say complete, you still have to get the wadding and the backing, but what you are going to get are all of the cotton pieces that you need to make this fantastic, fantastic quilt that you see here. Now, when it's made, it's 67, no it isn't, it's 76 inches by 64. The size that you can see there on
Yes.
Janice. So it's a great kind of lap rug.
Yeah, it is. And there's three
quilt.
different options as well, three different colourways that you can go for. So you've got your blue, you've got your rose.
Your rose.
And
Your purple.
and then your purple.
You've done
There
that
you go.
before.
Hey. But it's a lovely design. You get the pattern and you get the fabrics. I guess all you need is the wadding and the backing and your cotton and your machine to make it.
Well, you get 5.5 metres of 100% cotton fabric, which is amazing, saving £32. I worked it out that if you couldn't make your mind up between each of them,
Yes.
if you went for all three, you'd save £96 today by going for all three of them.
goodness.
And of course, you can sell what you make if you want to.
Yeah, you
but
can do.
having said that, if you're looking at the pattern thinking, well, I like the fabric, but I don't want to make that quilt out of it, there's nothing stopping you using what you've got already in your fabric stash at home, making that pattern out of that and using this for something else.
This is the most awkward demonstration that I've got here. Do beg your pardon, making a right mess of it. Sorry, I'll just hold the one up. But you're quite right.
I'll tell you what. There you
That
go.
is perfect. Perfect, love it.
Always
love
have the
it.
helping hand.
Yeah, but it's a lovely size, you're right. You could have this on your knees. You could have it in the garden, maybe, you know, if you're out there with the little ones, for example, or on a bed. It's a lovely, lovely design. And again, you've got the three different colourways.
I didn't actually know we had the made-up quilts, because I've been talking about them all day, but
Yes.
just showing you the kits, I didn't realise we had the made-up quilts.
And doesn't it make a difference when you actually see it made up? It looks great on the images that we've got, but when they're made up, they look fabulous.
If I just hold up the others, not in front of Janice this time, there we are, look at that, aren't they lovely? Gorgeous pattern. And it's also, not that I'm an expert in these things, but I can see that it's not going to be a really complicated quilt to get your head around. If you want to start off with something that's very achievable and isn't going to take you months and years to do, then perhaps this is a good starting point. And, I'm a 6'1" geezer. And look.
And I'm a 5 foot lady, and this it's nice and snug.
It is really, really snug. I mean, it's the
just
sort of
what
thing
we need.
you can make it during the summer, and of course, when it starts to get nippy in the autumn, you've got it to kind of, snuggle up to. You can use it on the sofa. You can use it as a wall decoration, hang it from the wall. Lots of people are doing that with quilts these
Yeah,
days.
it's a really nice idea, actually. It's a good keepsake, so it could be a present for somebody, maybe getting married, maybe someone's moving into a new home, maybe they're having a new baby, or just their first baby. It's a nice gift because it's a keepsake, it really is.
Actually, I was around my niece's house a few weeks months ago now actually, and she was showing us quilts that a member of her family had made in America.
Yes.
For the family as Christmas gifts, individual Christmas gifts, and she'd shipped them over just before Christmas. It took her all year to make all of them, but they are heirlooms for that family now for the rest of the day.
It's a lovely project, it really is. And again, everything you need, the fabric, you've got the instructions and the pattern, so you're good to go.
And you can make as many of those as you want out of other fabrics once you've got the pattern.
Yeah.
Look, let's face it, you'd spend between £10 and £15 on a pattern.
Yeah, you certainly would. You really would. But you're getting the fabrics with this as well. You just need your waddings and maybe a larger piece to go on the back. But that is a substantial amount of fabric that you're getting in each kit. It's 5 half metres and it's all 100% cotton.
And 7 a.m. tomorrow morning we'll launch another one. So this one will be over then, but it may not be in stock up till 7 o'clock. Grab it now if you want it. There is stock of all 3 options if you call us right now. And the way to do that, 01733602000, or if you'd rather order it on the website, you can do too, hochanda.com.
Yeah, you can shop ahead for everything we've got available for you in the show. We've got the sunset specials coming up in a moment's time. Head to the website,
now,
get in early.
Now, the deal of the day is there till 7 a.m. tomorrow if the stock lasts. With sunset specials, these prices are only live and valid for this hour, so you've got to get them before 8 o'clock, or if the stock sells out in the meantime, that's it, game over. It's always a bit ominous when you hear, oops, sorry, in your ear. Oh, okay.
Oh, dear.
Couldn't find the knob.
Right. We've got something special for you. These are your sunset specials. Now, the price for your sunset specials go back up at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock.
Yep.
So it's a deal for this hour only. And we've got some great crafty goodies for you, starting with this one. I think this is going to be excellent for the school holidays. And we do have half-term coming up.
These are going to be great. These are going to be so much fun. You could have Tigger on your wall.
You could.
And I stopped myself from saying something else when I just showed you that one. You've also got your little Hello Kitty. There we go. How cool are they? I almost fell into that trap so badly.
That says you've got Donald Duck and friends.
You've done that before, haven't you? That's your party piece. What happens to us when we do 3 hours in a row? This is what you're seeing with Janice.
This is what happens. And then we've got the lovely princesses here. Now, these are for your personal use, for making and creating, maybe with the kids, as I said, in the holidays, something to keep them occupied. You're going to be the best grandparents and auntie and parents.
There's our Janice on a night out.
Yeah, it certainly is. That, just down there, that's me on a night out. Here's Dave.
I was going to say, that was me there.
There you go. You've got more Hello Kitty. Lots of your favourite characters in here. And again, so you've got...
These are all stickers.
Yeah,
so
those are all stickers.
If you want the kids to decorate their walls, put it on maybe furniture, that sort of thing, they'll have so much fun. And it is the true characters that they have grown up with and they know and they love. Maybe it's memories of a trip to Paris, to Disneyland, or America if you're lucky enough to go over there, Florida or LA or wherever. But there he is, Tigger and Pooh.
God, these kids have got it good these days.
Haven't they?
Paris, America. I was lucky if I went to Skegness. Falmouth was the furthest we went. You've also got these stickers as well. Love these.
You're making up for
stickers.
it now, though, aren't you?
Yeah, certainly am. You've got these lovely stickers here that you can take off. And again, this is a nice design. It's like an Art Deco design, which is lovely.
And this is decoupage. Now, you may want, if your kid's a certain age, you may want to help them with this, because obviously this is designed to be cut out. But when I say decoupage, they're actually... are they decoupage? They could be, but they don't need to be, because they're actually raised and they're kind of embossed characters, but on a glossy page. But they're not in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. So I think the idea is you just cut them out, really.
Yeah, cut them out and stick them in different scenes.
With them.
Yeah, maybe card toppers, lots of clowns.
We could just see ourselves there. It just reminded me of dressing up for the Panto shoot last year.
Oh, gosh, that was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was funny. And, of course, we've got another birthday coming up this year, so who knows what theme that will be.
Do we have another one?
Yeah, we've got another. We have a birthday every year,
Do
Dave.
You? Funny that, isn't it?
It is funny. Oh, these are sweet. Look at the hedgehogs. So you've got little baby hedgehogs there, isn't that sweet? It's lovely. So you've got those as well. You've also got some pencils and a pad.
Some fibre tip pens.
Yep, and you've also got some card as well. So it's a great kit. You're saving £15 and a penny, it's only £19.99. Approximately 18 packs in total. So you could split these up and divide them for different presents for different people, or collectively as one project.
Maybe you're having kids round for a bit of a party, you're thinking about summer holidays, maybe the neighbours get together, their kids, your kids, and you're thinking, oh, what could we have just in the drawer ready to kind of keep them occupied if they come round? Perfect for that. Great for grandparents, maybe, to get the grandparents.
Yeah, certainly is. 048 932, that's your item number if you want to go for that one.
Do you like your ginger and lemon?
I do like my ginger and lemon, yeah, I love ginger.
Good.
Settling of the tummy.
Yes, absolutely. Right, now next, colouring with a bit of a difference. We're talking about colouring in with the pencils and the pens there. This is actually a canvas, and it's from Johanna Basford's collection, the Lost Ocean collection. She did like paper pads and that sort of thing for colouring in, but you don't see that often colouring in canvases. But this is a solid one, because normally they're a bit bouncy, aren't they? Yeah,
and you know what? It's good to go. When you get this home, you can use your colouring pens on this. We've got a set of blue, so if you've got any other colouring pens that you want to use on here, you're more than welcome to do so. I think this would probably could work with your acrylic paints as well, and some of your watercolours. Dave, you're going for it.
I am. You know me. Once I start, I can't stop.
That's very good. I'm not holding my breath. Now, what's nice about this, it's kind of the seaside in reverse, because we've got the blue for the sea and the sky, and then we've got the shells.
Well, it's kind of making a statement, I think, because you could either do the background in the blue if you wanted to, and then maybe get some brown or whatever and different coloured fawns to do the shells, or if you wanted to do like a kind of an abstract in just different shades of blue, that would be quite striking.
Yeah, it certainly will. And with the canvas as well, let me just show you, it's stretched over the sides as well, because sometimes that's really nice to have the design and the image going all the way across. And just to show you the construction on the back, if you want to hang it on the wall, you've got the capability of doing so, maybe just a little nail on the back there.
As I always say, it's all in the demo.
Yeah, it certainly is. There you go. Look at that.
Half price.
That's encouraging.
I can do it, anyone can. £10 off, down to £9.99 from £19.99. Now, what about some dies in the show as well?
Yes.
Spellbinders dies. They don't come much more famous than that when it comes to die manufacture. And also, the quality is superb. These, I'm not sure if we had these on before or not. You're saving £24, which is always nice to know. Down from $37.20. They are new today.
Oh. This is a nice set that I've got here, just seeing the card that you could possibly make from this particular set. But of course it doesn't have to be that project. You could use these separately. That would make a nice aperture, centre of a card if you want it, and then we've got the other element towards that. And again, you could use that separately or together like it's done here.
Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 beautiful, decorative, fancy rectangular frames, really, I suppose you call them. Although they could be portrait or landscape, they work both either way. But on the front of the book, the actual packaging, you can see the actual decorative detail that will be cut in. You can also see the outside cutting edge as well. They all nestle into each other really beautifully. But if you don't want to use the large one, that's not appropriate. You've got plenty of smaller ones there, maybe for little RSVPs or anything like that. But they're very, very decorative. $13.20, not for one, but you get both.
Yeah, that is excellent value for money, it really is. If it's not for yourself, it could be a gift for someone else. And that's the beauty of our Sunrise specials. The price only lasts for this hour. If you try to get this after 8 o'clock, then it's going to be £37.20 for both of those. But now, for this hour, £13.20. That is an exceptional saving.
Sunset specials always absolutely fly. Now, our Lottie, who's almost ready to go on maternity leave. Tomorrow's her last day, for those of you that know Lottie from Mama Makes. She's actually got the stamps out and done this in between the shows. And she predicts these are going to be a sellout. I kind of agree.
I really like these. They're busy already, that vintage look. And there's something about maps, I don't know what it is, that I love. I love the image.
Email in, wish Lottie well. She'd love to get your messages. studio@hochanda.com. This is only $13.80 if you want both of these stamp sets. These are from Just Right. And they are just beautiful, beautiful quality. They're all rubber and they're foam backed as well. So you've got that incredible. It's not really, I don't think it's an accurate map. I think it's more, well, it says Pennsylvania, Hudson River. Oh, so it's American. Yeah, an American map. It's the journey that matters most. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, it certainly is. It is
not the destination, but the journey.
It's the journey. It certainly is. Doesn't matter where you get on or where you get off. It's what happens in between.
Yeah. And then you've got... Then you've got these. Now, these are all pre-cut for you, and they're on foam as well. You've got the vintage car. You've got the vintage hot air balloon.
Love that.
You've got the finger. You are here.
Yeah,
explore, soar in the clouds, be a traveller, not a tourist. Oh, that's it. Yeah, traveller. Never
Love
a tourist,
that.
always a traveller.
Yes. which is lovely. And again, because they're on the red rubber, it's incredible quality and could possibly last a lifetime, really. So if you do want to go for those, £13.80, saving £24. That's a huge saving. And you can use these on all kinds of different projects, and I just love that vintage vibe to them. 436362.
And that in your journaling and things like that would be lovely, because they're always arrows and all that sort of thing. Always
pointing at certain words and certain sentiments.
And people and things like that. Yeah. So there they are. They are £13.80 for the two, £24 off, usual price £37.80,
Right.
only for the next 45 minutes.
Yes, and then the price goes up. Now, if you need a cutting mat, we've got a self-healing cutting mat. You've also got the metal ruler, and you've also got the craft knife as well, the paper knife. If you do want to get hold of these, again, saving £4, only £9.94. Maybe this is something you've been thinking about getting to do your intricate work rather than fussy cutting. You want to use this with your craft knife. You can also use this with air drying clay, and of course we've got air drying clay with the one-day special, so it could be a very good idea to get this, £9.94, alongside your one-day special.
Now, it's marked as Frisk, that's the brand.
That is the brand.
But it's actually brought to you by the SAA, which of course are an association that often come and do shows with our fantastic artists, people like Matthew Palmer and so on, Sharon Hurst,
yes,
all those wonderful people that come and inspire us. They've actually found this and endorsed this, but it is a Frisk self-healing cutting mat, and you've got a metal ruler, which is nice to see, in inches and centimetres, and then, like Janice said, you've got your protected craft knife there as well, and you can actually get replacement blades for those too.
Yeah, you can. Nice. You can. So if you want to get frisky, get hold of that.
I feed you the line. You take it. £9.94. £9.94. That is a saving.
We're just moving our mugs to the left. You can hear them going along. Mugs are available if you want to get hold of them.
Chin chin.
Cheers. Oh. Smashed it.
Now,
right.
Have you got anything that you need reupholstering? The reason I say that is this is, they're calling it a striped canvas. It's very, very, very beautiful, but it's strong, reinforced fabric. So I'm thinking of things like outdoor cushions or seat covers, anything like that, that will, you know, take an awful lot of wear and tear. This is the fabric you need for it.
I think this will make some nice Roman blinds as well, if you want to, because you've got that fabric to do so. Just get some lining for the other side.
2 metres here.
Yeah, you get it. Let's open this up. So cushions for the outside. It could be Roman blinds. You could make a small pair of curtains out of that, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But decorative cushions, maybe if you're upcycling seats, for example, this will look a nice, fresh look. Nice,
to be honest, it could even be a throw. If you finish the edges off nicely,
yes,
maybe put some binding on it, you could actually put that over maybe a tatty old chair that you want to cover up a little bit. Maybe it's a dog seat or something that you don't want to change. You
could, if you get the right backing for it. Hayley was telling me about this, Craft Yourself Silly, because it's quite tough. You know, if you've got an occasional table or a dining table and you just need something underneath to lift it, you could place this underneath. As long as you get the right non-slip backing, you've created a thin rug.
It would be lovely again if you've got outdoor furniture, maybe an outdoor, I've got an outdoor table that's got slats in it, and if you put like a glass down on it, it very often topples into the slat, so it's a bit annoying. Put something like this over the top. It's strong and strong enough and thick enough to cover over the top of the tabletop. For barbecues and things like that, we don't want food dropping through the slats. Yeah,
it's a nice bold pattern, isn't it? And it lends itself to a nice summer feeling.
And actually, the texture of the thread, I don't know if the camera can pick this up or not, but where the caramel stripe is, it's a lot thinner than the actual cream. It's a lot more textured there, and it's almost like a satin strip, but it's not satin, but you see what I mean? It's got like a shine to it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I like that.
I like it a lot.
Like it. Very nice.
And goes with everything. Yeah,
it certainly does. It's great colours to do that. If you do want to get hold of it, though, you can actually make a bag as well. A bag would be great. £9.98. It is... Do you want some help, Dave?
I'm just trying to fold it for you. Okay. I've got the wrong end. You got the...
You get that. Look.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. There we go. Fantastic. Perfect.
I ironed that for the show. I got it all neat and tidy.
You know me and folding. I'm useless. I've got one of those plastic things at home for my t-shirts and my shirts that I put them on and then flip them out because I can't do it otherwise. I'm useless.
You use one of them to put things in your drawer?
Yeah.
Oh, bless you.
I've got very neat drawers now.
I like the fact you've... I don't know why I went all high then. But I like the fact you've got neat drawers. Moving on.
Now, the sidekick. This is a Tim Holtz machine. This is going to set the phone lines light. $32.99 for a Sizzix Sidekick machine. Now, what this is the perfect solution for so many people who may be a bit fed up using the big A4 cutting plates for tiny little dies. This is great. You don't have to replace your big machine with this, we're not saying that, but to have that by the side of your bigger machine, when you just got like little tag dies, you know, there are lots of little tag or dies on the market. They'll cut up to 2.5 inches wide, but look, that's strong suction.
Yeah, it certainly is. You also get the plates with it as well. So you get the plates to use, you get information on how to use it and what plates to use with your dies. And with it, you're also getting a ticket die. So if you want to make and create some fabulous tickets, we've also got
With
some
numbers
stamps
on it.
in there as well. You can see you've got the ability to make that.
Ticket number 60, it's your lucky night.
Now, you've got the numbers on there, but you've only got one number 6, or it could be a number 9. So that's why you only have the one number on there.
Teamwork.
Teamwork,
Perfect.
absolutely. 164852, that's your item number if you want to go for this. You're saving £12.
And if you've never used a machine like this before, maybe it's a machine for a younger member of the family. You don't want to maybe spend a fortune on a big one, and you're thinking, well, you know, they'd like to kind of craft along with me. These are kind of really practical, portable, go-anywhere size plates. It does give you full instructions, but it is, above all, you know, a Sizzix machine with Tim Holt's endorsement as well. So you know it's not only going to be of great quality, but it's also going to be great, very fashionable.
Now, I've got these two sandwich plates together, and I'm going to ask our lovely Lotties if that's the right two to use. The grey, and then the embossing, and then on top. Yes. So that's right, yes. So I'll put that in there. Well, we'll soon find out. We'll soon find out. So I'll place that in there, and then we'll turn the handle towards me, and then what I'll need to do, there you go. And that just goes through.
And they're also dark
And then maybe
brown.
you can take it back just to be on the safe side.
They're dark brown, so if you put them down on your tabletop, they'll be visible.
Yeah, there you go.
There's your... Hey, look at that.
Embossed perfectly. Perfectly. There you go. And then you could just cut that out and use it. Or it could be on a drawer, for example, which is great, isn't it?
Could be.
Perfect.
Fantastic. OK, so if you want that to go for that today, I'm surprised to see that in here, actually. £12 off. At normal price, it's £44.99. It is just £32.99. 164852. Now, this is another one that we've had on before on our Sunset Specials. We've been able to get more stock of it for you, which is great, because this is not only the card blank, it's the insert and it's the envelope as well. And it's for all sorts of eventualities during the year, not just birthday or Christmas or anything. It's everything. Thank you, good luck, with sympathy, Merry Christmas, with love. But the actual inserts, they're folded the other way, just so that you can see them. That's the reason they do that. But the insert obviously would go normally like that and would then fit inside the card.
Yeah, it's perfect. You could, if you wanted to, if you wanted a simple card, you could place it on the outside if you want to, and then you could embellish it on the inside. Or again, you could pop that on the inside, like so. You could open it up, it would say Happy Birthday, and then you could put your own message on the inside or fold it the other way. There's all kinds of different ways of using these cards.
And what I love as well, each pack is the same. So if you want one with love, all of those in there will be with love. They're cream as well, cream die cuts or cream card blanks, cream envelopes and cream inserts. But, oh, bless you, Ben.
Oh, bless you.
But if you want to add some distress inks or anything like that to kind of, you know, add a little bit of colour to it, you can do that, of course, as well. But yet loads here. Congratulations. Anniversary, happy anniversary.
If you wanted to sell these, you can do. £9.98. You get the whole lot. There's 128 pieces in total.
They're resealable.
So if you are doing a craft fair, for example, you've got the opportunity to do that. Maybe you're batch making. You've got 8 designs in here, so you've got your cards ready to go to ink up and add your own embellishments, which are perfect.
There we go. So that's one opened, but you'll probably only use 1 or 2 at a time. Then, of course, you can leave the rest of them, of course, in the cellophane pack, and you can reseal that cellophane bag. Stops the dust getting in and, you know, sticky fingers or anything like that.
Yeah.
But also great to put your finished cards in to protect them when you're on the move with them.
Yeah,
too.
you can. You can also use it with some of your inking techniques as well if you cut it open and then add your ink. So there's all kinds of things that you can do. Remember, the price of everything will be going back up at the top of the hour. These are sunrise deals for this hour only, saving £20 and 2 pence or twopence.
Twopence.
Twopence. £9.98. It's great value for money, as is everything we've got on the show. Now, we've also got... Oh, you're going to do another cheers?
I better sort out that fabric. You look a bit...
Oh, no, it's all right. I'll do that. It'll only take me a second to do that.
Well, I'm going to tell you about something else we do here. Graphic 45 is an absolutely loved range of designer papers globally, and there's a club which you can subscribe to. You may or may not know about this, but I'm going to tell you a bit more about it now. Welcome to Club G45 from Graphic 45, the monthly tutorial kit that allows you to create some of the most beautiful projects by accessing a step-by-step video viewable online. This month's tutorial is the Club G45 Wall Hanging Decorative Frame Kit, containing Bloom Wall Hanging Decorative Frame and Bloom Metal Keyhole Pocket Mini projects. You'll get almost everything you need to create these projects from scratch, including access to this month's step-by-step video tutorial and accompanying project sheet. Simply order yours by purchasing item number 490196 for £44.99 plus your postage from hochanda.com, or give us a call on 01733 602,000 for instant access to this month's Club G45 from Graphic 45.
Now it's time to take a look at the all-stars of the day. Now, what we do with the all-stars, we take products that have performed very, very well throughout the day, your favourite products. And we're going to start right here with these fabulous dies. Love these from Sizzix. This is going to make such beautiful cards very, very easily because they're an embossing folder, but they've also got a die inside as well. You've got other elements that you can use on either or, so you can mix them up if you want to, but they really are a beautiful way of making a card for a special occasion, a card for all through the year, because it doesn't just have to be for a special occasion. And you'll see you've got the embossing folder and you've got the die, so just one pass through your die cutting machines will create beautiful cards. Now, we had Sharon in today. We had Sharon from Sizzix in giving some demonstrations. At the times were 11 and 2. I believe 11 and 2 o'clock. And here's Sharon to show us how to make these fabulous cards.
Now, this is the folder. This is the wedding one.
Yes.
And you can see here it's got the cutout die embedded in the folder. So you treat it as you would an embossing folder.
Right.
So you put your piece of cards. I've got some gold shimmery card because I thought this is a bit wedding-y.
And this isn't a card that's folded over, this is a
No,
piece
this
of
is
card.
just a card front, because I'm going to have my card behind it, because when you look through the window, you want something behind.
Of course.
And as it's an embossing folder, I don't need this shim, which is for the metal thin dies. So I can discard that, and then I sandwich it just between my two cutting plates. It does tell you on the platform what you need for an embossing folder.
And that's really good about Sizzix.
So,
you've always got that at hand. That won't wear off.
You can see there's the instructions for an embossing folder. You just need this base platform and the two clear plates.
Perfect.
That's it. So that's my sandwich.
And the space platform is there because sometimes you can get the big dies which are thicker, so you won't need that space
That's
plate.
right.
I'm learning, Sharon. You see?
You are, yes.
Every day's a school day.
Yep, for a big die, you just need the two clear plates.
Perfect.
And they go straight through. Yep. Yep, you are learning. So there we go. I'll just pop that out.
See, how easy is this going to be for you to make and create, especially if you're batch making? Something as elegant as this and as finely detailed, it's done with one passing through of your die cutting machine, and it was effortless.
It really was. You could see I've just got a couple of bits there that I need to push out. And of course, it's beautifully embossed, all that detail of the stonework.
Yes.
I've got a shimmery sort of paper here, so you can see it quite nicely. If you were using plain cards, you might want to rub an ink pad or something over that to highlight the stones, and that would make them stand out nicely.
Yeah. They're great, aren't they? They really are. And for batch making, absolutely perfect. And again, you can use them all year round. So £14.38 if you're a Freedom member. That is a delivered price. Of course, you can have them if you're not a Freedom member, but it might be worth checking out becoming a Freedom member to get the discount. Right, we're moving on with our All-Stars, and we've got some Magnolia stamps for you. Aren't these pretty? Oh, it's so cute with the big rosy cheeks. Oh, that's just how Dave would have looked when he was little. It's just how Dave looks every day when he comes into work. He's so sweet. If you do want to get hold of these, £49.45. It's a great price. You're saving £22.49. Now you are getting 15 stamps in total. So let's just go through the ones you're getting here. So this one, you can see there we've got the little baby with a big smile. And then I believe that is an elephant or a horse. I think it's an elephant. Yes, it's an elephant with a sentiment on there, which is lovely. The next up, oh, is that holding like a little umbrella? Oh, is that lovely? And then next up, holding a star, which is really sweet. They're made from red rubber. You've got that grey mount on there as well, so these are good to go. There's your, I'd like to say elephant, it looks like a cow, but you've got that lovely design there. You can see all these on the website. Then you've got that lovely wreath. And then final one there. Oh, it's like a little fairy with a bunting. Party time. Love those. Magnolia rubber stamps. You can see we've got some lovely samples just here in front. If I just move those out so you can see the different designs that you can make and create. Aren't they lovely? And if you love your colouring in, this is going to be perfect for you. If you want to get hold of them, 2 payments of £24.73. It's a great price. It is a Flexi Freedom price. So bear that in mind, because if you've already opened up a Flexi buy, you can add other items to that. And then that will be divided into 2 as well. Now, Joe Channon was with us earlier on with some fabulous storage. Love this, love this. This is going to get you organised and help you to become creative as well, because what this will give you is the capability of stacking up your A4 papers. Now, the bottom one you'll see there, this is how it comes. So it comes nice and plain. You do need to make it up, so it is flat packed, but once you've made it up, it's plain like so, and then you can start painting and decorating. The great thing is they are stackable, but you can also split them up as well. So if you've got different papers from different manufacturers, you can split them all up, have them around your craft room, and then you can start crafting. But what I like is this little lip in here, so that when you go in, it's easy just to go in there and then pull out. So a nice little, in you go, and pull that out, which is very, very handy, and that's on each one. You can buy as many sets of these as you like, because you can just keep stacking and stacking and stacking. So for 5, £13.95. So imagine if you go for 2 sets or 3 sets, you can start stacking them up and you can open up a Flexi. If you're going for the Magnolia stamps, then you can add these as well, because you might want to keep your papers in here. 146720, £13.95. Now, we also had a bundle of 4 storage solutions for you, all for you to make up. So within that, you've got your ink storage, you've got your 12 by 12 storage, your A4 storage, and you've got a die storage as well. You've also got display. 3-tiered display, but you can also use that for storing if you want to. It's a great price, £41.80, saving £8. Decorate these how you want, bespoke to you, so you can get yourself organised in your crafting room, or maybe buy them as a gift for someone else. Very, very handy. So many of you taking Lasersmith up on that particular deal. 611897. That's your today's All Stars. Now let's go and recap on the Sunrise specials.
Yeah, so every evening we do the sunset specials every evening at 7 o'clock, only for the hour though. A bit like in the morning when we do sunrise specials between 7 and 8 a.m. They're only at this price until 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. So you've literally only got about 27 minutes now to get hold of any of these at these prices. Now, the first things I want to show you, out of everything that's in here, it's got to be the Disney that everybody wants, everyone loves, whether you grew up with it or whether your kids are growing up with it right now. Everyone knows Belle and Cinderella, Gaston there as well, isn't it? Gaston, I think that's Gaston, sorry, not Gascon. As in Paul Gascon. no, Gaston. Mr. and Mrs. Chip, isn't it? Little Chip and Mrs. Potts. Ah, it's all coming back to me. But all of these, look, they're not like cutouts. They're actually stickers. They're adhesive stickers. Adhesive's already on the back, so you can turn maybe a toy chest into a Disney toy chest. You can have a Disney-themed wall. You can have, the Belle of the Ball. You can have all the dancing going on the wall. And you've also got Minnie and Goofy and Mickey and Pluto and Goofy, Donald. And you've got Hello Kitty as well. Maybe Hello Kitty's right up your street or up your grandchild's street or whatever. Loads of those. Winnie the Pooh, Christopher Robin, Piglet. Stiglet. I just had a packet of those. That's what I thought of it. Oh, that was on my brain. Oh, God. You can tell about a long day. So all of those Disney stickers are there. And then you've also got all of these fantastic three-dimensional embossed gorgeous quality papers. Now, they're not 3D decoupage in the true sense of the word. Although, actually, could they be that? Could go on. Yeah, this is decoupage. So you could cut those two out and stick them on top of each other. Those two could go on, where would they go? There and there. Yes, yeah. So that is decoupage. I don't think every sheet is, but that one certainly is. Beautiful. You've then also got your adhesive, they're like adhesive stamps. They're all pre-cut, so you just peel them off, like this one here, for example. They'd go up. So if you may be sending a greetings card without putting it in the post, and you just want to decorate the envelope or something, or maybe stick the flap of the envelope down at the back using those, you've got like a little Merlin there. You've got, again, some really cute, like, donkey images. You've got wonderful artwork, a little bit oriental going on there. A couple of sheets of foam, card blanks, a colouring pad with your Forever Friend that's there, I think it is. Yeah, there we go, with the pencils as well. And then you've also got some fibre tip pens. 10 fibre tip pens. That's not easy to say. £19.99 is the price for all of that. That's down from £35. £15 and a penny is what you're saving, OK? £19.99 for the whole lot, 048932. Now, the canvas, if you're looking for something a little bit more adult, let's say, although children would, I'm sure, love this as well, but rather than colouring in a pad and then tearing the sheet out and thinking, what do I do with it now? This is actually a pre-printed canvas. So it's incredibly strong and solid. Normally canvases are like trampolines, they bounce, which would make it a bit difficult to colour in. But this makes it very, very easy. And we're also giving you, with this canvas, you're getting 5 alcohol-based pens, which are permanent, and you get all those different shades of blue. So if blue's your colour choice, you can do something quite arty with the blues that are just here. Maybe you want to use the blues for the background, or maybe you want to do something with the blues on the actual shells. It's entirely up to you. But this is from, it's either Johanna or Johanna Basford's colouring canvas. So it's a lovely designer collection. And this, together with the pens, is only £9.99. And you pay that for those pens easily normally. 12 by 12 canvas. 5 alcohol markers, they blend beautifully, double-ended, bullet nib one end, brush nib the other end, £9.99, and they're yours, all of it. And that's a delivered price, of course, if you're a Freedom member as well. Now, for those of you that are into your dies, you're not left out in the show. We've got the Spellbinders die sets here, 2 of them for you, at a brilliantly affordable price. Nearly 70% of this has gone. It is, well, just crazy, ridiculous price. £24 off. You're spending only £13.20. Now, these are just like a happy hour deal, really. It is the same as a happy hour. It's only for the hour. It's a sunset special. So there's the bigger die, and you can see actually on the front what it makes. You can see there on the picture of the card. And then you've got, of course, the smaller decorative die in the centre, which you may want to use completely separately, or you can use it together. And on the other set, you've actually got 5 frames. Or 4 actually, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4. 4 frames, all different sizes, and they nest together, and you can of course either layer them flat, or you can of course layer them with the double-sided foam pads really beautifully, so you get a lot of dimension. Great for invitations, great for RSVPs, that sort of thing. £13.20, saving of £24 for just for Spellbinders dies. That's an amazing price. Now, there is an affiliation with Spellbinders with the next item. They are connected in that they very often manufacture stamps to complement Spellbinders dies. So if you've got like the vintage labels 4, for example, that will go with this set just here, I presume. And then you've got, of course, that fantastic large rectangular stamp as well. £13.80. I mean, die there, or that stamp there, will cut out perfectly with the labels for die. So a lot of these stamps are going to work with your Spellbinders collections that you've already got. They're already foam mounted, and also they're pre-cut for you. Sometimes you have to cut your own rubber stamps out. You don't have to with these at all. And what I also love about Just Right stamps is they use the packaging to be the storage, so there's no waste. And it's beautifully done as well, and it gives you some colouring ideas as well on the front. They've actually got the holes for all standard ring binders pre-punched in them, so you're ready to go to put them into a folder. But that is a lovely, big, huge stamp. If you don't want to use it for stamping, you can use it for your mixed media. Just use it as like a palm print stamp, so you can get texture and various different effects from it like that way. But if you look on there, it's actually a map of America, parts of America. I think it's Pennsylvania down there. Hudson River, that's New York, isn't it? Yes. So yeah, you've got New Hampshire. So it's a vintage American map, definitely. And over here, you've got the vintage balloon, the vintage car, the arm with the finger, you are here, the pointing hand. Be a traveller, not a tourist. Soar in the clouds and happy birthday. So there we go. £13.80 saves you £24 off the price. And Lottie has very kindly done that for us to show you the quality of the print. Now, when you're doing your crafting, one of the first things you need to invest in is a craft knife, and also a cutting mat is also a good idea too. They always have to be self-healing, otherwise if they're not, they're just, well, you're going to, you know, basically end up with indentations in whatever you're working on, whereas these will kind of repair themselves when you're using them. And also really handily, you're getting a lovely long metal ruler with this as well, and it's double-sided too, really good. I would have thought you'd pay probably £10 for a metal ruler like this, to be honest. So if you find that you're always cutting into your rulers by mistake, snipping away little bits of plastic from them, it's really annoying you, then use this and you've got that fantastic Frisk. There we go, the Frisk brand, £9.94, 426815 is your item number there for the stainless steel ruler and the precision craft knife as well. £9.94, £4 off, 426815. Hello to Deirdre, is it on Facebook? She's noticed my tan. I haven't got one really. Have I? Really? I was only in the sun for a day. Oh well, thank you. Cheers, Deirdre. Just had a weekend away seeing friends, that's all it was. But yeah, thank you. Right now, let's have a little look at our next item. This is 2 metres of heavy-duty fabric, the heavyweight cotton striped canvas, 54 inches wide, 2 metres long. It's huge. Brilliant for seat covers, all that sort of thing. You could use it maybe as a table cover. You could cover an old chair or sofa if maybe it's your favourite place where your dog curls up. You don't want to get rid of it, or buy a new chair and they'll just wreck it. This is a great way of making something look particularly smart. I mean, the house that I've got, that sometimes we have guests staying and that sort of thing, I often kind of put like a throw over the top of the furniture, not just because we've got guest staying, but for our own purposes as well. We've got a cat that sheds hair. I've maybe gone out in the garden, I've got muck on my hands or whatever. So it just kind of keeps the furniture nice and pristine underneath it. But you don't want something to look ugly on top of it. This would look fantastic. Very stylish, £9.98, £14 off, and it's a 54-inch width, 2 metre length. 403 783. Now this is a must. This is a great opportunity. Now, there are lots of small machines on the market for die cutting and embossing. Now, Diane, she's emailed about this. She's got one of these. She said, fantastic for small dies, if you don't want to get your big die cutting machine out. And the price is amazing. Diane, thank you ever so much. You've done our job for us. And it is, you know, I'm a massive Tim Holtz fan. I think maybe most of you watching are as well, because he's just got it. Everything he does is innovative and imaginative, and you know, it's always kind of groundbreaking. So he won't put his machine, he won't put his name to any machine that is not of a superior nature. And Sizzix make superior machines, they really do, and it is a Sizzix branded machine. So what you've got first of all is a great quality suction. I could, if I wanted to, lift the actual counter up here, but I wouldn't be very popular with things going flying. Sharon lifted who's it? Sharon lifted a chair up once with it. It is incredibly strong. When it's on there good and proper. And then when you release that paddle, that then releases the suction. There we go, look. So first things first, you know it's not going to slip around when you don't want it to. What you've also got, these will cope with dies up to 2.5 inches wide. You've got here this very useful tag, and then you've got numbers. A 6 and a 9 is the same basically up the other way, so don't think you're missing one, you're not. You've also got an embossing folder which will emboss your tag rather nicely. And you can stamp a sentiment on it or use the numbers if you want to. Always handy to have the numbers. You've then got some more stamps over here as well, which is, as you see there, you've got a stamp that will obviously kind of highlight the emboss that we've just done. Again, you've got the pointing hand, you've got the 3 stars, you've also got a squiggle or 2 down there too, and you've got the plates. Now these plates are, as you can see, not clear. They're purposefully like a smoky quartz. 2 brown ones and a grey one. So if you put them down on your table, you'll see where they are. Because so many times you put the clear ones down and they just disappear. You can't find them for hours. So everything you need. If you do ever want replacement plates, of course, it's a scissors machine. That will be no problem at all. You've got your fantastic instruction book that comes with it as well. And it's $32.99 today. And it complements a larger machine. You don't have to have just this and nothing else. You know, it's just a handy machine to have when you just want to roll a few smaller dies through. So that is 164852. Now, what about card blanks and inserts? That's what these are. You get the insert, which you can use either way. Like Janice said before, it can go on the outside of a card. It can go as a wrap around a card. It could go inside the card like that. But I would probably be more tempted to put it inside the card like that. So when you open it up, you've got that lovely with love sentiment or good luck. And there's, is it 9 in each pack? 8 designs, 8 in each pack. Yeah, 8, 9, yeah. So there's 8 designs, 128 pieces in total. So, yeah. There's 2 packs of each design. You've got thank you, got happy birthday, happy anniversary, congratulations, with love, Christmas in there as well. So it's a bit of everything. It's a card blank, basically, that you can put a topper on or a decoupage piece on, and you can decorate it however you wish. The whole lot, just £9.98. There should be 35 quid. You're saving £25 and 2 pence. That's your saving today. 883737. OK, now what's on tonight? What's on? Well, we're here at 8 o'clock live with the lovely Catherine, of course, with the one-day special. That's what you can see there. But after that, at 9 o'clock, you're going to be seeing that we've got Katie Sue Designs, a one-day special at 8. Stamp Addicts at 9. That's with Matt McNamara. More one-day special at 10 o'clock. Pergamano show at 11 o'clock tonight. And then at midnight, if that's an hour you like to stay up for, we've got Katie Sue Designs again. So that's our one-day special, which you'll see through the night. And, of course, Let Leone Loose is there if you want to record that. That's there at 2 o'clock. All of the things you can look forward to from now right the way through until we're live again in the morning at 7 a.m. But what about today's one-day special?
Thanks, Dave. Well, we're joined by Catherine. Hi, Catherine.
Hello. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Well, we launched the one-day special a little earlier today at 5 o'clock. It was a 2-hour launch, wasn't it?
It certainly was. And I had a little assistant, didn't I?
I assisted. I assisted as best I could. But what was nice is it's very addictive, isn't it?
It's
because
very addictive.
of the ease of use. Well, let's talk about the one-day special and what you're getting.
Yes, brand new moulds, of course, from Katie Sue Designs. I love the design of these. These are your stitched flowers. You've also got the leaves in there as well. So they're quite modern, aren't they? They're quite funky. You know, if you think about the stamps with the doodle designs, they remind me of those. So you can make these, of course, in air dry clay, your ultra thick embossing powders, you could put soap or wax into the moulds, and of course, if you're into cake decorating, you can put fondants, marzipan, chocolate, and that sort of thing into them as well, because they are food grade silicone.
Yeah, they are. You can pop these into the dishwasher, not these, eat these first, the moulds, into the dishwasher to wash. You can put them in the oven up to 200 degrees as well, Celsius, giving you a chance to make some cookies, maybe in the shape of flowers. How much fun will that be? They are food safe, award winning as well. We do say that if you are using them for your other mixed medias, then please do get 2 sets. But it's a great price, £24.97. It gets you the 2 different style flowers, doesn't it, Catherine?
It does, yes. One of the petals is a little bit more decorative than the other, but they're both just as usable and beautiful, actually. There's so many ways you can work with them. I've got to say, they are made of chocolate.
Yes, I know. I'm tempted to go in and eat one just to prove to you on air that they are, but I can't. We're going to need these for tomorrow as well. But you also get the leaves as well.
You certainly do. You do get the leaves, and there's 4 different designs within the one mould of the leaves as well, with the stitching in the same way. So everything works so perfectly. We've got more new items on the show as well for you, plus some favourites that have come back that work so well with these moulds as well. So lots in store tomorrow, as well as, of course, at 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Dave will be with you at 8 o'clock tonight. Maybe you could get Dave doing some clay, air drying clay demonstrations. Yep, he's given me the okay. Yeah, he'll do that. Why Katie Sue Designs though?
because in my view and many people's view, they are the best at what they do. There's so much care and attention goes into producing the moulds. They're award winning. They're here in the UK as well. Everything's manufactured here in the UK, which is great, isn't it, when you've got a UK company that we can support.
Yeah.
But yeah, the designs, and everybody works so hard. There's a lot of people involved. It's just lovely to work with such wonderful people.
Now, the alphabet die set, that's also on the show. It's not part of your one-day special, but it is available separately. We were very busy for that. Very popular.
Yeah.
It's $12.99 if you want to go for that. But you'll see you've got the stitchy detail going around the outside, highlighted with some white ink. But you've also got the detail of fabric inside, and that's why these were so popular. Just something a little different as we come in close. You can see that detail with that. So you've got the full alphabet set for making and creating your own testaments, which is fabulous. The background to that is also a mould that is available as well, isn't it, Catherine?
It is. We've got a brand new one, which is a cross-stitch mould. The one that I've used there is the knitting mould. It's a map that we have seen before, actually, but many of you might not have seen it in the past, so it's been very busy on the show again for that particular one. But watch out for the cross-stitch. Now, the sample you've got there, I just think is so clever.
Yeah. That's actually stitched.
It is stitched.
Yeah, and that's
but that is clay. That's by Laura Jane, one of the design team members, and it was Debbie who made the chocolate lollipops. But yes, she stitched into the actual clay there, used it as a piece of cross-stitch fabric.
Yes, that's fabulous. So many different uses for the moulds, but you do need to get hold of them. We were busy in the 2-hour launch programme, but Dave is back at 8 o'clock with Catherine for the one-day special. So if you do want to go for that, head to the website and maybe shop ahead. That'll be a really good idea. Right, we'll let you get going so you can get ready for your next show. You're working very hard today, Catherine. We do appreciate it. We'll let you get ready for the next show. You can see Catherine 8 o'clock tonight. You can see the shows on repeat, and Catherine will be back at 9 a.m. tomorrow, 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. stock depending. And this is the stock. Let's have a look at what you're going to get with your one-day special. So you've got the moulds available collectively in a set of 3. That's your one-day special. That's your craft stitch mould just there. You've also got the paper available, 2 packs of the paper. You've got the gingham and the pretty fabric pastels, which gives you a chance to make and create if you want to. Oh, you've also got the lovely button heart silicone mould. These were very popular. Singularly on its own, the Love Heart mould was brilliant, all made up of little buttons. And then you've got the border as well. Excellent value for money. Definitely go and have a look at those. And then, of course, stocking up with your air drying clay as well. You've got the opportunity to get hold of that. Right, that is your one-day special coming back at 8 o'clock tonight here on Hochanda. But now let's take a look at the deal of the day. Where have you got that from?
I looked at my hands, I thought, where on earth? I'm not that dirty.
That's from your jeans.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
It's the ink off the stamps, because Lottie stamped them. So when I peeled them off, I thought, ah!
Oh, I thought you'd been going in your pockets or something.
So if they look filthy, that's the ink, sorry.
And I've got no excuse. Right, let's talk about the deal of the day. Now, we launch this 7 a.m. every morning on Good Morning Hochanda, and we've been very busy throughout the day for this. It's fabulous, fabulous deal.
I can't believe you've got a complete quilt kit for what you'd probably pay maybe for a couple of patterns. You can get a pattern for between £10 and £15, but that's without any fabric at all. This is a pattern and the fabric to make the pattern for £19.99, so it's a whopping saving of £32 off. Should be $51.99. Now, the pattern doesn't have to be made out of this fabric. You can use this fabric for whatever you want. But if you've got the pattern there and you've got other fabrics you want to make into a quilt, it's different to this. That's entirely up to you. The pattern's there to use again and again and again. So the only thing you need to get, really, is the wadding and the backing fabric. I don't know if you get enough for the back of the quilt or not.
For the back of the quilt, I would probably... do you know what? You might. Because when you look at the quilts themselves, there's a lot of white in there. So the good idea, an idea would be perhaps to use white fabric to stretch out the fabric that you're getting.
So wadding on the back would be separate.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, because the back, I mean, you could patchwork the back if you want to, but if you want just the same design on the back, then I would definitely get your own fabric for that. But you certainly have enough, and then some, to make the quilts and the patterns.
Now, when it's made, it's a great size, actually. It's 76 by 64. Perfect size as like a lap quilt, or again a quilt if you wanted to put it over the back of the sofa or hang it from the wall, and that covers you very nicely.
Yeah, it certainly does. If you want to use this out in the garden, maybe, you know, if you've got little ones out in the garden, it's a really nice idea. Out for a barbecue, yeah, if it gets chilly, or just a play mat, for example. If I bring that in there, you can see how big that is. It's a lovely pattern as well. Excellent price. Go for more than one. It's not limited to one per person.
Do you know what? That proves a point that it depends on how you use the colour as to what the actual quilt looks like. If I show you the pattern, if I just put that next to it, look, that is completely different to, obviously the sizes and everything, and the fabric's been cut out exactly the same, but the way you put the colours and lay them down makes the pattern look completely different, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. With your patchworking, you usually work in blocks. So with the pattern that it shows you a certain style. But if you want to mix it up a little bit and have a random pattern, nothing's really random with patchworking, it's all worked out. But you can do that as well. So you've got the capability of changing the design around a little if you want to.
And it tells you what to cut, how big or how small to cut the pieces. So it's all there in black and white, and it is actually on card, not paper. So if you wanted to laminate this, which I know lots of you do, and maybe put them in a ring binder or something like that, you've then got that pattern for years and years to come. And then the final choice, that was the purple one. The final choice is the one that Janice has picked up now. And this is what they call this is the rose one, is it? Or no, is that the pink?
This is the pink one. Yeah. The rose one.
Blue, sorry, that one. That's the blue one. Yeah.
That's the blue one.
Yeah.
That we're showing you there. That's the blue one.
So that's predominantly blue and pink.
So that's that option. Let's pop that down there.
That one is the purple.
This is the purple.
Which is obviously that one there. There we go. And then the rose is the last one.
And then you've got the rose, which is here. Again, lovely design.
And just look at the way it's been quilted. Maybe you've got some quilting rulers and you're thinking about doing that to it. It doesn't need to be done, but I think it really adds an awful lot. You've got lots of swirls going on there, but it's the block work and the patchwork that really makes this whole thing come to life. I cannot believe, I don't know anywhere where you can go and get a complete quilt kit for $19.99. OK, the wadding's not included, the backing's not included, but you know, everything for the front of it.
Yeah, it is. Well, you all have your own choice with wadding, and that's why, more often than not, wadding isn't included in your quilt kits, because you've got your own preference. So if wadding is provided and you don't use it, it would be a waste of that addition. So that's why normally it's not added. This is not limited to one per person.
Nope.
It's not. If you want to go for more than one, you can do.
Well, if you're tempted by all three colours and you're thinking, this is a really good price, I'm not going to see this again, well, you'll save £32 on each one. So if you buy all three, your saving will be a whopping £96.
That is fabulous. If you're part of a craft group, for example, get one for yourself, one for your friends, one for someone else, and you can all craft together and maybe do them slightly different. And so when you come together, you'll be able to see and you'll be able to talk about what you've done. Or it could be just your weekly get-together and you're making and creating as well as a social.
It could be like my niece, who I've actually received from a member of the family abroad in America, a quilt for each of the members of the family last Christmas. And I thought that was something amazing. And they are going to have those out and about, heirlooms for the future. You get them now in May. It gives you a good, 6-7 months before you maybe gift them at Christmas, but brilliant. Now, the Sunset Specials, remember, they end in literally 4 minutes, even though the break will be on in a second. You have until the stroke of 8 o'clock to get them before the price goes back up. The computer makes sure that does happen, so you've only got literally a few minutes now to get all of these at those prices. I mean, that fabric there, that striped fabric, I love that for $9.98.
Yeah, that is excellent value for money, it really is, and it's quality. It's quality, and that's what you're getting. It's a great deal, but again, the price will be going back up in a few moments' time. Well, we've got just enough time to get all nice and snug and warm. So, Dave, what are you going to do next?
Doze.
Well, not for too long, because you've got the one-day special coming up at 8. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. So it is Katie Sue with Catherine and myself. It's the one-day special live at 8 o'clock next. Then it's Stamp Addicts, a repeat show for you at 9. And more from Katie Sue with another repeat show of our one-day special coming along at 10. That's coming next.
Would you like to improve your crafting techniques by watching and crafting along with your favourite Hochanda guest demonstrators, or from the comfort of your own home? If the answer is yes, then we are excited to invite you to Craft Along, where you, our presenters and guests, will create an amazing array of projects throughout the year. Each month we will be bringing you a brand new kit that you can purchase on the day of each show. Or if you pre-order your kit, you will receive £5 off a purchase of £20 or more of any additional products featured within our Craft Along brand shop that month. So tune in, be inspired and create with Craft Along, your monthly crafting workshop.
Hochanda will be supporting Stamporama, an incredible art, stamp and papercraft show. We'd like to invite you to come along and meet us on Sunday the 11th of August. Set in the Stevenage Arts and Leisure Centre, Stamporama brings together the UK's most dedicated and gifted craft experts, all available to inspire you with their knowledge and expertise. Tickets are available from Hochanda in advance for only £2.50 or alternatively on the door for £3. So what are you waiting for? Treat yourself to a fantastic crafty day out. Order your tickets today from hochanda.com.
Hello and a very well welcome to the One Day Special. We do it every day, launch it at 6 every day. Well, today actually we launched it at 5 because it was an early launch, wasn't it?
It was,
2-hour
yes.
launch.
Bit of a surprise again today, but we had fun, myself and Janice.
Absolutely.
Janice got stuck in with the clay as well.
Totally, and I will too if you want me to.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Let's have a little look at the moulds. Katie Sue designs award-winning moulds, and you'll see why when we start to use them, because they are exquisitely designed. Now, nearly half the stock of these One Day Special moulds have gone since the launch shows earlier this evening. They are delightful, they really are. Everyone loves flowers, but these are different because they've actually got the stitch detail around the edges.
They have. You know, we love our faux stitching, don't we? We often draw it in with pens and or use pricking tools and things to put stitching around the edges. These are beautiful. I just think the style of them, they're very simple, but they're very fresh looking, they're very modern. They remind me of the doodle type stamps and the images that we see in the papercraft. So these will go perfectly with some of the papercraft elements you may already have. But of course it makes everything much more 3D.
Now I know lots of you collect every single set of moulds that Katie Sue bring out, whether you're a cake decorator, a sugar crafter, or whether you're an air dry clay moulder. Either these work. We always say keep one for cake and have another one for your card making. Keep them separately, obviously, but they are food grade, aren't they?
They are, they certainly are. Yes, and award winning as well,
Yes.
Katie Sue, of course.
Absolutely. You can see why. So just look at the way they've been used here for card making. Air dry clay, if you've never used it before, it doesn't have to go in the oven. That's why it's called air dry clay. It is the lightest medium amazingly that will look amazing on three-dimensional cards. You can use it on your mixed media. You can colour them however you wish. You can, of course, colour the clay with coloured clay, or you can add colour to it like we've done here on some of these. But they're so bright and cheerful, these.
They certainly are. Now, I've got to say a big thank you to the design team. Now, this one that we're seeing now is from Victoria Heasler. Now, she's been on the design team for some time now, and she always finds a way of working with some sort of skull, or, you know, and so here we've got that how do we pronounce it again now? The sugar skulls, aren't they?
Yeah.
So using the flowers there, the Day of the Dead, and yeah, or sugar skulls they're known as. I just think, you know, how she's managed to do that, it's incredible. Just thinking out of the box.
Absolutely, and it makes them quite whimsical and quite funny. And also, you could put little faces in the centre of these flowers if you wanted to, 2 eyes, a nose and a mouth, and make them kind of come to life. It reminds me a little bit like Bill and Ben, the flower pot men, a bit like that sort of look to them. But when they are put together in a cluster, like you saw on that card a second ago, they just look so exquisite. They really do. You can use them in three-dimensional objects as well. Is that air dry clay again here?
Yes, that's air dry clay, and we've got some items that aren't air dry clay or fondant either. I'm going to show you some lovely lollipops that were made by, again, one of our design team members, Debbie, and she's actually used the moulds to create real lollipops. So that's sugar. Isn't that clever?
Wow.
So, of course, they are food grade. Using the leaves there on the stem as well, the little stick, of course, using it as a stem to the flower, they are lovely. And also the box one that we've got here, this box here, they're chocolate.
This is candy melts, which you can buy. I've done shows with them before, they're amazing. But you can literally put very hot contents into the moulds because they'll withstand temperatures up to, is it 200 degrees?
200 degrees,
yeah,
yes.
So.
And you can put them in the freezer, and they're dishwasher safe as well.
Brilliant.
So for cleaning, you can put them in the dishwasher. So what a great idea. But think of things like your wax. You can melt candle wax, you can melt we've done the chocolate on the food side, but on the other side, your ultra-thick embossing powders as well. Resin can go into the moulds. Soap can go into the moulds. We've got the air-dry clay, polymer clay, which is the oven-baked clay you can also use. Don't put the mould in the oven, take the clay out as we do with the air-dry and then bake the polymer clay separately.
This
so many ways of working with it.
It is like a Powertex, but it also has a great steampunk look. So it's gone from being whimsical and bright and cheerful to being quite grungy and steampunky and rusty.
That's it.
It's fab, isn't it?
That's exactly. You can add whatever mediums you want. You can paint onto the dry clay. You can use your gilding waxes. You can use your spritzers. You can use Powertex. You can use so many items, so many products on top of the clay.
Well, I'm not surprised they went so quickly. Nearly half stock gone. This is live at just after 8 o'clock, and this show will be repeated through the night. So what we'll have when we go live with the next live show at 9 a.m, I'm not quite sure. We'll have an update for you actually in the Good Morning Hochanda show as well at 7 o'clock as to how much of it's left or how little of it's left. $24.97 for your one-day special. Now, another very popular one. Love this. This is one of my favourites. This is very clever.
Love it.
This is the stitched small alphabet. Now, it really does look like it's been each letter's been individually stitched onto what looks like a cross stitch.
That's right. Well, the alphabet itself, you've got the stitching around the edge, but if you look at the individual letters, they've got that texture of fabric in there. So we have got actually the background that looks like the cross stitch is a separate mould coming up, but the letters themselves, you don't have to bring the detail out any further if you don't want, but using your inks on top will bring out the texture. Then colouring the stitching itself to bring the stitching lines out around. It's just one of those moulds again that you're going to use time after time after time.
I mean, seeing the darker mum there and then the white stitching around the edge, it really makes it pop, it makes it stand out. It literally looks like you have sewn something onto the card.
It does.
Makes it look like fabric. It's
yeah,
incredible.
Exactly. And the detail in the mould, every bit of detail is going to be picked up, whether it's the air-dry clay, the polymer clay, the fondants, whatever you're using in the moulds, it's going to pick up that stitching line, which, you know, makes it very easy to then further decorate, you know, to bring the lines out.
And look at the word happy. It's looking almost bee-like with the yellow and the brown. Really effective. How do you just kind of just touch the tip with a...
There's different ways. Now, when I first looked at that, I thought maybe it had been done with a fine liner, but I've just noticed, actually, I think that has been done with ink. So using an ink pad. I wouldn't go directly with the pad unless it's quite a dry pad. If it was very juicy, you might get too much ink on there. But just brushing the surface maybe with a bit of ink on some sponge or something like that would work very, very well. You could use a fine liner to pick out the detail as well. Depends where you want the colour.
They are stunning, aren't they? And they work so well with the one-day special flowers as well. So £12.99 if you want the alphabet, 563808. Maybe you've got alphabet moulds already and you're using the same letters over and over again. You're thinking, oh, I just want to try something a bit different, a bit more kind of countrified maybe.
Yeah.
That will do the trick. Now, this is very clever. This is actually giving you the look of a cross-stitch Aida, really. It's the cross-stitch silicone mould, £12.99, and just by basically pressing it into the air-dry clay or whatever it might be, it gives that look of Aida. Now, if you're a Freedom member, you're going to get an even better price, only £11.69 for this. And it doesn't have to be round. You can give a round mould onto a square box or something like that. If I just drop this in for a second. There we go, look, see, you can put it onto square things. It works on any shape, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, that card that you did show before, now if you look at that, that's very clever, because if you think of your mixed media as well, using your clay on canvases, on grey board, you can use it in your mixed media projects as well. Because of the texture there, you can crease it, you can crinkle it, you don't need straight edges or neat edges. And something like that, you could gesso over the top when the clay is dry and add all those different finishes again. So I like the fact that it's circular because it reminds you of a piece of fabric that's going to be put into an embroidery hoop.
Yeah.
In fact, somebody's made, we did see it a little bit earlier, someone's made actually an embroidery hoop out of clay, which is really, really clever. When I first saw this, I thought it was actually an embroidery hoop, but it's been done very cleverly with the wood effect mould from Katie Sue. You know, but it looks like a little embroidery hoop. So using that there as though it's the fabric background, it works so well.
I've just noticed, this one I just held up, this one here, that is actually cross-stitched.
Yes, you can cross-stitch into it. I'm going to show you how to do that.
It's amazing.
It is. Now, you can either draw with a fine liner, you could paint in the stitches as well. I think you'll find it easier with a fine pen, but you can actually stitch into it. The bee has also been stitched. So what I think, Dave, you can get these little cross-stitch patterns. Sometimes you can get free downloads and things as well. Take some of those patterns and copy them onto your clay backgrounds.
Yeah.
You know, you can stitch it actually in there. That is very clever. That's Karen.
That is adorable, isn't
from
it?
the design team, another Karen, using the Sugar Buttons elephant. Now that's clever.
It is clever.
So the flower wrapped round the trunk of the elephant there.
But it makes a great grass.
It does, yes, using that mould there as well for the base of the little project there.
Well, the actual cross-stitch mould, if you would like it, is only £11.69 when you bear in mind how much silicone there is to this and how detailed it is as well and how useful it's going to be. Whether you're doing something rectangular, square, round, whatever the shape may be, to have that texture at your fingertips, it's going to be a really useful mould. I think you'll use it more than you perhaps even realise when you buy it.
Oh, definitely.
949392. £11.69 is your price. Now, the website has got everything else that's in the show, loads more things. If you want to buy the one-day special things individually, you can do. The best price, though, is to buy them as a set, because that's where you get the one-day special discount. We've got some fantastic card stock for you as well. We've got the pretty fabric pastels for $14.99, 48 sheets. Also, the gingham Fabric A4 card collections there at $14.99. The texture mat is there as well at $9.99. The button moulds are sheer genius. They really are great. Those button moulds, they're $9.99. 5-star reviews, button hearts, button strips. Kerry designed those, didn't he? I remember him doing those. So yeah, very busy. And if you want the clay, the hearty, soft, white, air-dry clay is only $9.99, and you get 200 grams there. And if you want the coloured clay, you get 350 grams in bundles. Now, there's a choice of 3 different options, I believe, with the colours. We'll show you those. We'll click on them to bring them up. So you've got the choice of either magenta, green or blue, or orange, brown or yellow. And then the last 3 for $11.99, you get all 3 of them, black, green and red. Brilliant. You can add just a little bit of to the white clay, and that will help to change the colour, or indeed you can add all sorts of things to the white clay, actually. You can add food colouring. And...
You can, yes. Gel food colouring works. You can put ink in there. Ink doesn't give you... If it's got high pigment in it, you're going to get more colour. So something like the pigment stains are very good. Water-based products, don't go with alcohol. It dries the clay out. Right. So don't use the alcohol inkers. They're just not the same. Now then, we're talking about the clay. Straight from the pack, this is a brand new pack of clay I've just opened. This is the white clay, 200 grams you're going to get in a pack, and it's going to go a long, long way. Now, as always, I'm going to stress about the fact that I prefer not to use the clay straight from the pack into the moulds because I find it's a little bit too wet. It can stick a little bit, even with the corn flour. I'm going to prove a point. I like to do this. I like to show you how I prefer not to do it, so you can see the reasons why.
Right.
And then we'll do it the way that I prefer to do it. So just so you can see the difference.
How long would you normally leave that out then before you use it?
It does depend on the temperature in the room, and I know it's easy to say it because I'm here in the studio and everybody's sat at home, but you get to know the feel of the clay. So you'll feel the consistency change. Now, when you take it from the pack, I always give it a stretch, get the moisture going in there. It will become more like chewing gum. It doesn't feel sticky like chewing gum, but it becomes more stretchy. It's quite fibrous when you first take it from the pack. As it starts to dry more, you can feel it firming up. So the texture of it is a little bit like those marshmallow sweets when it's dried. It's really nice to work with. It doesn't leave a residue on your hands either. It's very clean.
Good.
So although there's moisture in there, and we say it's sticky, it certainly doesn't feel sticky.
No.
So, and it doesn't stick to all surfaces, but it loves to stick to itself, as you can see. So you don't need to use glue when the clay is wet. There are occasions where I do use a bit of glue, but usually it's the tiniest amount because adding glue to wet clay makes it go very gooey.
When that dries then, if you put wet to wet and it sticks, when it dries, does it still stay attached?
It stays attached.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So obviously you need to put glue on the dry clay to attach to your project, but clay to clay, if the clay is wet, once you've stuck it together, it will stay stuck together. There are occasions where I'll build something and let certain pieces dry, then add to them, then I would need glue.
Right.
But I would always talk through if I was doing that in demonstration. Now, just because I'm going to get another colour prepared, just to show you how easy it is to mix the colours, we have got the coloured blocks. These tend to be in smaller sizes. They are so highly pigmented, you need the tiniest amount to make a difference. So I've no idea, I couldn't tell you the weight of the clay or the size of the amount I've got there, but I'm going to split that down because it's quite a lot. It is air dry, so anything you're not working with, advisable to put in an airtight bag while you're working with it because it will dry out if you leave it out.
Okay.
But look at the amount of clay, the blue that I've put there.
That's all you need?
It depends on the colour you want, but I don't want a dark blue. I want to keep it quite light. So just work that in and you'll soon start to see the colour coming through.
Well, you can see why the blocks of coloured clay then come in 50-gram blocks and the white comes in 200. You don't need very much of the coloured at all.
You don't. Now that tiny bit, look at that, already. Wow. And of course if you want it darker, just add a little bit more. But I would say start with the tiniest amount of colour because you don't want to mix it too dark, then keep adding white, more white, because you're just going to waste the white clay. So I want to keep it quite pastel, so I'm happy at that as it is. That's really good. So the spare bit can go back in the packet. And I used a fraction of what I've got left there. It was just the tiniest amount. Now, because that is very fresh clay, I am just going to leave this out a little bit. We'll come back and use that later on through the hour. So what I tend to do, I just roll it out like that and let the air get to the surface. I would only give it maybe 5 minutes, flip it over, another 5 minutes, and it's usually good enough to go. But it will depend on the temperature in the room, the humidity. In the studios, we either have heat or we have the air conditioning on, and both are very drying.
Or freezing cold.
I know. I would say as well that the air conditioning dries the clay quicker than the heat does. It can be very drying, so sometimes when we're demonstrating we have to ask for that to be turned off. At home, just a nice temperature to work in. Don't work in a baking hot conservatory because it's going to dry out so quickly. Now with the one-day special you're going to get both flower moulds and the leaves as well. They've all got the stitch in detail, but you can see the difference in the flowers. You've got the shaped petals on one of them and the more rounded petals on the other. So I don't want to leave you out, Dave, so would you like to do some?
I would love to do some.
Right, OK.
I love this stuff, I really do.
OK, oh, it's wonderful to work with. Now then, when you've got the moulds new, it is advisable to give them a little bit of a wash. Give them a wash out, a bit of soapy water, a bit of washing up liquid and water. You need the mould to be completely dry before putting the clay in because if there's any moisture in there, the clay will stick to it. Right. So the same as if I was to drop, with my spritz, if I dropped a drop into the mould and didn't realise and then put the clay over the top, it's going to stick where it's wet. Same on the glass mat. So you want them nice and dry. And a way to do that and to make sure things are dry is to dust with corn flour.
The corn flour you can buy in the supermarket.
You certainly can. If you're not using anything edible like the air dry clay, you could actually use talcum powder as well. But corn flour's very, very cheap. You know, it's going to go a long way. So you can do yours as well, Dave.
Lovely.
So I'm saving that blue that I've mixed for a little bit later because I know, actually I said I was going to do both ways, didn't I, where it's going to be, I'm going to show you how I prefer it not to be. No, at the start of the show.
I see.
So before I give you any clay, I am going to do that. So I'm going to go back to this clay that is a little bit what I prefer not to use because it's come straight from the pack. So if I just show you, I'm not going to go with different colours, we'll just go with this one. So into the mould. Doesn't matter if you put too much clay in because you can remove it. If you don't put enough in, you can add it. So don't worry about guessing the amount correct straight away.
You kind of get used to how much
you do,
after a
yeah.
while.
Now, when I'm demonstrating, I usually purposely, to begin with, put too much in just so you can see how easy it is to remove it. Or I might go with too less. You do genuinely get used to it. You can judge it very accurately. So I'm just removing any excess. Now what you've got to watch out for with the flowers is you have got these areas in between the petals that you need exposed because that's the gap in between the petals. So just pull away with a fingertip. Because we've got the stitching in there as well, although you can easily push that in just by hand, I would advise using a rolling pin over the top simply because you want to really pack that clay down. Make sure it's picking up all the detail.
Got to go into a really small little crevice to get that stitching detail.
So using the rolling pin, you know you're going to get that detail picked up. What we would do then is go around the edge with a fingertip. It is quite neat actually, this one. I don't really need to do it, but that will clean up any edges and also help to expose the edges ready for flexing the mould to remove the clay. Okay. Now I know this is wet. Now look what happens there.
It kind of sticks, doesn't it?
Can you see? It's lifting a bit at the side, but when I flex the mould, the flower is actually stretching with it. And if I kept doing that while the clay was wet, you would probably find that this start to split.
Right.
So if that's happening, then your clay is too wet.
So
and if you try and get that out, you're going to end up pulling it, look, and it's going to stretch. So that's how not to do it. This is just, I've purposely done this so you can see what happens because it's the most asked question. Why, when I'm trying to get the clay out of the mould, is it tearing? Is it not coming out? It's because the clay is too wet.
So let it dry for 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It just goes a little bit harder, does it?
You can feel it gets a little bit it goes a little bit firmer.
Right.
So you really will notice how the clay feels as it's starting to firm up.
And once you've opened up a block of clay then, is the idea that you keep it in the fridge or keep it airtight?
You don't need to keep it in the fridge. There is a preservative in the clay so it's not going to go mouldy. Just make sure it's completely airtight. Now when you're working with it at your desk, something like this is okay because I'm going to be in and out of that bag. But that wouldn't be safe to store that if I was putting it away because the air's going to get into the bag.
Yeah.
So you really want something with a ziplock or something that you can fasten. And what you need to do is make sure you expel all of the air out of the bag as well. Ideally, keep the clay that you're not using in the container, in its own packaging, and put that into an airtight container and seal the top over.
Right.
An airtight tin, all those things. So I tend to cut just the top of the packet off and push the clay down and make sure there's no air in the pack and store it like that.
Great.
Okay. So now the clay I've got here, Dave, some of it was mixed way before the launch show. Some of it I mixed during the show. Some of it's gone very, very dry. But now let me just, I know everybody at home can't do this. You just feel that. That's the fresher clay.
Oh yeah. There's moisture there. You can feel it, yeah.
Now feel that one.
Oh yeah, bone dry.
Yeah.
Well.
But that's still workable.
Right.
That has got quite dry, but it's still workable for the moulds. So we're going to work with some of the older clay, and you'll see the difference
The
when
more
you
I
flex
squeeze it,
it.
I can feel a bit of moisture in there, but nowhere near as much.
But what you can also do is, if this is where you've got to be careful not to get it in your mould, if your clay has gone a little bit too dry, but not completely dry, spritz some water into the clay and work that in, and that will revive it.
Right.
If it's gone completely dry, you're not going to bring it back. But that now you can see how that's starting to stretch again with just that little bit of moisture. It's really brought that back.
I'm just thinking of what you might be planning on making using these moulds. Bearing in mind we're into spring now, summer is around the corner, we hope. Are you thinking of maybe you've got a June birthday to make a cake for, to decorate a cake for? Brilliant, with these fantastic flowers. Imagine that just round a wedding cake in the summer wedding.
It would look lovely. And I'm thinking as well, I've seen it done with paper flowers before. What about the little lights, the little LED lights? You could make a hole in the centre of the flowers and feed the lights in there as well. They'd look so pretty.
But also, if you buy a couple of sets, you could have the wedding cake, let's say, or the civil partnership cake decorated with the sugar paste version of the flowers. You could have the paper flowers on as table decorations. So the whole thing ties in.
You can do a whole theme with the flowers and make everything. You really could. You can really go to town with it. Right, so we've got our moulds dusted up, I think, have we?
Yep. Yep. don't
Okay,
mind.
so we'll both go with the same colour because I've got the clay prep ready to go. I'm going to stick with some just plain white on our flowers, but also we're going to use a bit of lemon as well. So that we've got the yellow clay in the smaller blocks. Once again, the tiniest bit if you want to keep the colour nice and light. Now, I would say that if you've never used moulds before, I normally suggest that you start with one colour. You can always add detail with paints, your pens afterwards when the clay is dry, and then gradually work up to adding the different colours into the mould. But I am going to throw you in at the deep end, Dave, and we're going to go straight with 2 colours.
Okay, great.
Okay?
Yeah.
This is so easy. Right, so there, I'll give you a bit of yellow.
Okay.
I'm going to work with the largest flower. I'm going to suggest that you do the same just because being the first one we're demonstrating, it's easy for people to see it, but it's the same process regardless of the size of the mould. So the most important thing is take your clay, and what you're going to do is start in the middle of the flower, but you don't want to overfill that. So you can clearly see the little delve in the centre. You don't want to be coming over onto the petals.
So that's too much.
Yeah, if it's too much, just break it off and go in again, and just press that in with the fingertip. Now, I know I've forgotten my glasses, they're in the lounge, but never mind. So if I suddenly go a little bit off, it's because I can't see. Okay, that's it.
Okay, so that's about the
So
right size.
even if it's a little bit shallow, don't worry about it, as long as you're covering up the detail. That's wonderful.
Bit more?
No, that's
No,
fine.
that's all right.
So just make sure it's pulled
stays in the centre,
That's
yeah.
it, right in the centre.
I've got my glasses on, I'm still struggling to see what I'm doing.
Right, then I'm going to give you some white clay as well.
Yeah.
I'll give you a bit more than I've got because I'm used to sort of stretching it a bit further. Now, what I tend to do, when I've already got a colour in there, there is the risk, especially if you've got cornflower in there, because it's not going to stick the same, that could lift out. So what I tend to do is look at the shape I'm working with, take the clay, and I'm going to pop that straight over the top and lock down that bit in the centre.
Okay.
So you can just sort of keep your fingertip on there and then work around. Then you can start to really feed the clay into the rest of the petals.
It's very therapeutic too.
It is. It's
great fun.
lovely to work with. If you've got too much, Dave, you can remove it very, very easily. If you haven't got enough, you can top it up as well. So the important thing to watch out for this time is those gaps again in between the petals.
Yeah.
I have got 2 rolling pins. You can use the white one. I've got a clear one here. We were selling these on Good Morning Hochanda.
Oh, really?
With blades the other day, yes. So if you did get them, they're brilliant. I'm hoping to come with some more clay shows at some point, doing different techniques as well. So if you did get them, they're going to come in very, very useful. So just tidy up. Now
Just
mine,
getting rid of a bit excess at the moment.
that's it. Just remove the excess. Now a good tip, Dave, is take the rolling pin, go over the top, and really pat the clay down. And if there's too much, it will show. You'll be able
Okay.
to see it, and then you can remove it where it shows.
Oop.
Oh, you've put yours. I did that in the LA show, actually. You stuck it to the rolling pin a bit. Now that's it. But you can see if you've got too much. In fact, if I haven't really got too much in mind. I don't know if we can just pick that up. Can you see over the edge? You can see how it's gone onto the silicone.
So I
So
pressed
you
down too
can-
hard, did I?
Yeah, you probably pressed a bit too hard with the rolling pin. That's
Don't know my
it.
own strength.
But you can, now, can I just show everybody on the camera
Yeah.
there so you can see clearly on yours? Now, if you look at mine, you've got the gaps in between the petals. Yours need exposing, so you've definitely got too much clay there.
Right.
And also, so all you do is just
Just
work,
remove a bit?
just remove it, just pull it away with your thumb, and then you pull back with your fingertip.
Gotcha.
Can you see how it's neatening that up
Yeah.
straight away, and you've got the detail coming through?
I'll carry on doing that then.
Okay. Now then,
Now, we've had an email from Rosemary asking about your hairband.
I'm glad Rosemary's asked me, actually, because I meant to mention it. If you remember, Dave, every time I've done clay shows in the past, I've always made something for my hair
Yes.
in keeping with the show. Well, when the samples were unpacked this time, Debbie Raybell from the design team had already done one, so I'm wearing it.
Ah, right.
So Debbie made that, so you can make wonderful hair accessories as well.
And also, they're not heavy.
They're not heavy. They're not heavy. And, little girls would like to make their own hairbands,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I'm sure. And it's perfectly safe to do. I mean, it's completely non-toxic, isn't it?
It is,
So
yeah.
mums and dads don't have to worry about that.
That's true. Yeah, it's great for kids. Kids love it. So as you're tidying yours up, Dave, I'll continue with mine. So once you've got the clay nicely into the mould and it's neat, then do work around the edge with a fingertip just to pull the clay in. I could have gone with a little bit more clay in mine, but I gave it to you, so I'm making do.
Thanks.
Okay. Then I'm going to start to flex. Now, because this clay is drier, can you see, when I just flex there, I've just let it go again, how it's starting to lift?
Yeah.
Can you see it's not stretching with the mould, it's lifting instead. So just work around the edge of the mould, and the more you flex, the more it's going to lift. It's just going to come totally free. I could have worked with clay that's even drier than I have got there, but actually, there we go. There you can see every little stitch and all the detail in that flower. Let's just hold it in place so it doesn't slide. Really, really pretty.
I'm impressed. Whoops. It's alive. Now, mine is nearly there, I think.
It's nearly there. It's nearly there. But as you said, you will get to judge the amount of clay that you use. Actually,
Yeah.
while you're doing that, there was something I meant to do in the earlier show. I did say I was going to do it and didn't. Just if you wanted to mix some clay and you only want to mix enough for one flower, or if it was a different mould, whatever you were making, because there's nothing worse than mixing a great big ball of clay in one colour and then realising that you don't want that colour anymore, you don't need it. So the best thing to do is, let's just say we wanted to colour this one flower. Take some of the white clay, push it into the mould. You don't have to be super neat with this, as long as it's filled the mould and you're more or less at the right amount. Maybe just give a little bit extra, so don't tidy it up. There we've got the clay in the mould. Take it out. You don't have to worry about it coming out, because then you're going to mix your coloured clay into it. So I'm going to go with a little bit of the red.
Am I doing the right thing here?
You are, but just work it round. I think your clay is still that little bit. You've already stretched that petal. I think that's what you've done. Let's just push that back in.
I think mine's a bit wet.
I think it is a bit wet.
It's
just
coming
tidy
out.
it up. It will come out. It will come. We'll get that. So you can see it's starting to lift. I think your clay is a little bit wet, but you know, we'll give it a helping hand. There we are. We'll just flick over the petals there, and out it
There we
drops.
go.
There you go.
Hey, first time effort. There you go. It's not bad, is it?
It's not bad at all. So we'll pop that down there to dry. And yes, so what I've done there, I've put the clay into the mould, a tiny bit of red, so it's not really going to add much to the bulk of the clay. Mix that in. I like the red. It makes a pink, but it's more of a peachy pink. If you go with the magenta clay, it's a sugary pink.
Yeah.
So you get two different tones.
I know these are all air dry clay, but to be honest, they look good enough to eat. They
I
really
know
do
they
look
do.
like they look like cookies
They
or
do.
candy, and you can make cookies or candy out of them. You know, this is the beautiful thing about these silicone moulds from Katie Sue. You can use them for food. You can use them for sugar paste. But they are air dry clay. So get one mould set for your air dry clay. Get the other for things like toffee and for sugar paste and icing and all that sort of thing.
That's it. So I've now mixed the red clay into the white, and I know now that I've more or less got exactly the right amount just for that one flower without wasting any clay.
Right.
You don't need to mix a full ball of clay, a big amount. Just go with what you need. So it's just a nice little tip.
But it's also not a daunting mould to get concerned
No,
about.
definitely
Sometimes you
not.
see these really intricate moulds, you think, oh, can I do that? Yes, you can. But this is a very, very simple mould, really, isn't it?
It is.
Lots of
Yeah,
detail
for
in it, but
sure.
very simple.
Lots of detail. Now, of course, the other new moulds we've got on the show are the alphabet and also the cross stitch as well. So we're going to work with those a little bit as well. We'll start, I think, with the alphabet. The blue that I mixed a little bit earlier, this is the blue I mixed at the top of the show, so now the air's got to the surface. If you feel that, Dave, you can feel already it is starting to firm up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
definitely.
the air's got to it and it's made it easy to work with. So that'll be ready to work with my cross-stitch background.
Now, the alphabet, by the way, if you want the stitched alphabet, half the stock of that has now gone. Personalisation, it's always lovely, especially if you're doing things like cakes and that sort of thing. Once you've got this mould, you've got it for life. You know, it'll be very hard to do any damage to a silicone mould like this. £12.99 is the price. Is that on Freedom? That's the stitch, okay, so that is £12.99 for that one. Every letter of the alphabet, and it's got that really detailed faux stitching around the edge. I mean, look at that. It looks so sweet, it really does. Home sweet
does.
home.
And of course you can make any name, any wording you want, it's entirely up to you. So we are going to work with that next, just to show you how easy this is to work with again. And once again, if your clay is too wet, you're going to struggle, because some of the letters are easier than others. By that, in fact, I'm going to do your initials, Dave. So DB, both of your initials, if I just get my little pointer so I can point it out, they've got these areas where there would be gaps in the letters.
Yeah.
And they can be sticking points because they're raised. So something like an I or a J and the K there's no little posts in them, so they're going to be a little bit easier to get out.
Yeah.
So if you're going with the really wet clay again, that's going to make it more awkward. So once again, I would allow the clay to dry just a little bit and go with it. Do you know what? At the end of the day, if you put it in and you struggle, all you need to do is take it out and let it dry a bit then. There's no waste. You don't have to waste it.
So the trick is to see the middle of the D, yeah?
You want to see the middle of the D. So again, if you've got too much clay in there, just remove some excess and work that around. You can go over the top with the rolling pin again, because that will really push down the clay and pick up the stitching and reveal that little post in the middle. Okay, so again, use a fingertip to make sure that's cleaned off. Inwards from the edge and outwards from the post in the middle. Okay, and then it's just a case of just popping that out.
Look at
there
the
you
detail.
go. You can see every bit of detail.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Now, with the other K2 alphabet moulds, I tend not to bother with the rolling pin, but with this one, I would say run it over the top, because you want to pick up all the texture and every little stitch. So there we've got D for Dave, and we've got a bit of white here as well.
Even if you've got a standard letter of the alphabet mould already, I bet you haven't got one with stitches on like this. This is so different to anything else I've seen before.
Is. So again, using B for Bradford, there we've got too much clay again, so remove the excess. This time we've got two little posts in there, so just make sure they're exposed. If you found you'd cover them a little bit, you could easily sort of remove any excess afterwards as well anyway, but it makes it much neater and a lot easier to do it while the clay's in the mould. Okay, so once again, just pop that out. I know it's white, but we can see it. I didn't go over with the rolling pin on that one, but you can still see it's picked up the detail. So we've now got your initials, Dave.
It's a happy font.
It is a happy font, yeah. It's a really cheerful, fresh, summery, I think, summery font.
Absolutely.
Although saying that, if you did it in the green and the red and the stitching round, put it on Christmas stockings, personalised Christmas stockings, any season, it really doesn't matter.
And it can be on books, it can be on journals. If you're into your journal making, you know, and you're looking for personalisation, or in your scrapbooking as well, you want a heading on the top, you want to maybe convert pennants and banners to have like words or letters on. You know, these are going to be as light as a feather. No joke, when you put air-dried clay in your hand, when it's dry, there's no moisture left in it, you can't even feel it's there.
You can't.
It's
So it's not
crazy.
adding to the weight of your posting as well. Yes, the depth, it does count when you post, but the weight itself, a lot of letters and parcels go on weight as well as the depth.
Yeah.
You're not adding to the weight of it. And they stay intact, Dave, as well. That's the other thing. When the clay is completely dry, it's very strong. And so you can post things and know that they're not just going to fall apart.
And this is one of those multiple button dies from Kerry Griffiths that we showed you at the beginning of the show. Don't worry about that on my hand, that'll just wash off under the tap. But yeah, that is really cute, isn't it? And it comes with a border as well. You get this one, and you get a border of silicone moulds as well for $22.99. But has that been coloured, or does that just
I'll
coloured?
do that. If we've got time, I'll show you how to do that, because that's a really nice demonstration. Now, I am, first of all, before we go to the heart buttons, I'm going to use the new cross-stitch background. Just so you don't feel left out, Dave, if you like, you can be making some leaves.
Oh, right, OK.
OK, so the same process. Don't overfill, just keep it nice and level with the top of the mould. Use the rolling pin and just neaten off the edges.
OK.
OK, that'll keep you busy for a minute.
Keep me busy and occupied and out of trouble. That's what you mean, yeah.
Right, so I'm using a bit of corn flour again. It does safeguard you. Sometimes if you've got the darker clays, it will pick up the white residue from the powder. You can wipe that off with a bit of a damp cloth. But if you do let the clay dry more, you can get away without using any corn flour at all. You won't need it.
Right.
Okay, so trial and error maybe if you've never done it before. You will soon learn the best way. Now, because I'm working with the clay here, and you could go to the full size of this, or you could just go with something a bit smaller as well. I'm rolling out a piece of the clay with a rolling pin, not really thin, but if I went with a ball of clay in the middle like that and then started rolling, what you're likely to find is you end up with very thin edges and a bump in the middle. So, okay.
Now, Mary has asked, she wants to know, can you leave the clay in the mould to actually dry, or do you best to take it out to dry?
You can, but I would advise take it out, because if you leave it in the mould, it's going to take much longer than taking it out of the mould.
Right.
And if you're wanting to make lots of things, and think about the alphabet as well, if you do baby as a word. You've got 2 B's in it. If you're wanting to put clay into a mould and let it dry in the mould, it's going to be a long time before you can complete a small word like baby.
True, yeah.
So
makes sense.
I would take it out of the mould, put the clay onto some kitchen towel so that it's leaching out the water or the moisture from inside the clay, and after 10-15 minutes flip them over. Ideally let them dry overnight, because even though when they feel dry to touch, there could be moisture in there, and if you've got any moisture and you're sticking them to cardstock, it can make the cardstock go a little bit wrinkly. So just, if you can, leave them overnight. They will start to feel dry to the touch within 15-20 minutes. Okay,
so while you're making some other bits, others are drying, basically.
Yeah, exactly. You can batch make and keep things stored and use them another time. Just have an evening in front of the TV. No. Have an evening in front of the television, just making flowers and leaves, and keep them for another day.
Why not?
So what I've done there, I rolled out the clay to a point to start with, and then I've anchored it down. By anchoring it down, I've just gone with fingertips and pressed it into the mould. Then go with your rolling pin, and it is a good idea to kind of go out in one direction, turn, instead of going backwards and forwards like that, go in one direction. Try and keep it nice and even. Now if you go too thinly, you'll start to see the pattern coming through, and if it comes through too much, when you peel that away, you may find that you've got those little nodules coming through too far, and it might split the clay. So you don't want to expose the pattern completely. When it starts to come through, that's when I think, right, that's enough, I'll stop. I can just start to see the pattern coming through the background there. That's enough for me. And then it's just a case of peeling away the clay. Now this was the clay that I mixed at the start of the show that was very, very wet. I know I could have worked with it a little bit drier than it is, but actually that's coming away nicely. And if I put that on there like that, you can see the detail in that clay.
Wow,
Isn't
that's
it amazing?
incredible.
It's really,
looks like
really
fabric.
good. That's it. Now, if you wanted to cut this down, let's say you wanted to put it onto a card and you wanted a topper. I've got a circular die here, which is a nice size. So what I would do now is use that as a guide to trim away the excess. You can cut the clay whether it's wet or dry, but if you wait until it dries, then what you're cutting away you're not going to be able to reuse. So if you cut it now, you can reuse the excess. There's no point in wasting. There's no need to waste any of the clay at all. So I'm just cutting around there, remove the excess. There we've got our circle. You can always neaten it up when it's dry as well, but that's ready to go, and this is all spare to be reused. Okay.
I think I'm there.
Lovely. Okay. When you're ready, you can take those out. They can be drying on the mat, Dave. And yep, lovely job. You see, they're coming out really easily. Look at those.
Yeah, it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
There you go.
It doesn't
Really
take long to
good.
get the hang of it at all.
Doesn't, no.
Just tidying up the edges is the thing that you need to just kind of get the hang of.
Yeah.
But once you've done that once, it's second nature after
And
that.
something I say, and this is true, and it's adults are worse than children. Children aren't afraid. They just go at it, and they just don't worry. They just have a good time. They have fun with it, and they just go for it. Adults tend to be a little bit more cautious,
More
a
hesitant,
little bit
yeah.
frightened of the mould, not sure of the clay, and they think they've got to be so delicate. You can be quite heavy-handed. At the end of the day, it's a piece of clay. If you don't like it the first time, it goes not quite to plan.
Just
roll
push it back
up,
in.
do it again. Yeah, you can mix your colours together as well. You can make different colours.
Have I passed,
So,
Teach?
You've passed. I'll give you a. Actually, you can have a 9 out of 10 for this.
Hey, it's like the generation game. I like this.
Well done.
Thank you.
So I expect a 10 next time.
All right, you're on.
Okay, now then. I haven't got my glasses, and I have only got a small amount of thread on here, but I just want to show you. This is a piece of the clay that's dry.
I can't get my head around this.
I
This
know.
is brilliant.
Now, there is a bit of real stitching there. That was done with a pen, but my pen, it wasn't the best pen, I've got to say. I needed something a bit finer. So you can use a fine liner and draw the detail in, draw the little crosses. And I've got to admit, when I first looked at all the design team samples, I had to really look to see which ones were drawn on and which ones were stitched.
When I
because it
first
looked so
saw it, I
good.
thought it was artificial.
Yeah.
Because I thought there's no way you can stitch clay, surely. But it is genuine
can.
stitching. It's incredible.
You can wait until the clay is dry, and then it's just like doing real cross stitch. You're going through up from the back, and you're coming out through one of the holes, going diagonally down back to the back again. Now you haven't obviously got the holes going all the way through, so you have got to sort of gauge it. But if If you're going with your needle and it's not quite right, just pull it out and go again.
I mean, obviously you wouldn't cross-stitch this if it was sugar paste, but could you get a similar effect with something?
Definitely. You can get edible pens and things like that for sugar as well. So you could paint detail on, use your pens. There's all sorts of products that you can get now.
An avid cross-stitcher, a birthday cake for them with edible cross-stitch would be incredible, wouldn't it?
It certainly would. It would be amazing. And just think, if you know someone who does cross-stitch, and you created a card with a nice design on that you'd stitch through clay, they'd be absolutely amazed. They would, and they'd treasure it as well.
And you'd never be able to buy anything like that. I've never seen anything like that for sale.
No.
Only you can make it.
Only you can make it. And honestly, if you look for little patterns, simple patterns, I'm sure there'll be free ones out there. You've probably got cross-stitch patterns in magazines or something like that. You can take the details from those patterns and create it onto your clay as well. I think that must be how the bee was done. I think that's come from a proper little pattern.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So obviously I'm not going to go the whole way across, but once you've gone one way, then you're going to come back and you're going to come the other way. So this is what forms the cross. So back and down diagonally the opposite way, so you've got your little cross. Okay, and the more you do, the more the pattern's going to come together. Really clever.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll remind you of the one-day special and what's in it in a second. But before we show you what's in the one-day special, it's more important to show you what you can do with it. Because remember, these are perfectly fine moulds for air-dry clay and also for sugar paste as well. So whether you're a cake decorator, maybe some of those fantastic oversized cake shows on the TV just lately have made you think, do you know what, I want to take up cake decorating. Or maybe you're just a card maker and you want to use this for air-dry clay. Take a look at these finished samples. It is a fantastic one-day special from Katie Sue. Great to have your company this evening. Catherine has been an absolute rock today. So many shows, and then coming on to do a one-day special as well, because you were in at, what, 7 a.m., 6 a.m.? 6 a.m. She's still here now, coming up at, oh, blimey, up at 3, still here at 9. Back in at 6 in the morning tomorrow, blimey. So, yeah, a real stalwart. Have a little look, though, at the Katie Sue Stitch Flowers, the moulds. You get two varieties. You get one with a kind of wavy edge to it and the other with the rounded petal to it. And you get the leaf mould in the middle as well. But the big thing about this is not the fact that they're flowers, it's the fact that they're stitched flowers. Because it's that sets them apart from other flower moulds. There are thousands of flower moulds on the market, but not one that I've seen that actually looks like this. It's really lovely. The detail is phenomenal. It is a simple look, but it's the fact that the tiny little flecks, the tiny little dashes, the clay goes in there or the sugar paste goes in there, and it gives you that kind of hand-stitched effect. It's glorious. Now, that obviously has got like a rusticy, almost steampunky, rusty sort of look, which is wonderful. But then look at what you can do with it. You can make it bright and cheerful. Spring has sprung. I can hear the birds singing. I can see the bees flying past and pollinating the flowers. It's just absolute riot of colour. It could be Flower Power 60s, couldn't it, if you wanted it to be? This is a skull, believe it or not, but with the flowers on there, it softens that look of the skull. It makes it really interesting, and you can use these flowers in so many ways. First thing I thought of when I saw them was put two little eyes, a nose and a mouth on them. They're smiling faces, you know, like the dancing flowers that you sometimes see in people's cars, that sort of thing. They're really lovely, they're cheerful, they say all the right things, and they're £24.97 for all three moulds today. You get 3 sizes in each of the flowers. So if you wanted to layer them on top of each other, you could do that, I suppose. Then you've also, of course, got the leaves that just kind of set it off a treat as well. And this is Powertex. So if you're a Powertexer and a Powertex fan, this is the sort of thing you can do with these. Once they're dry, you can paint them, you can make them look rusty, you can make them look grungy, make them look metallic, or you can make them look like the finest sweets out there. I mean, this is a contrast. Look at that, and then look at this. Total contrast. Brilliant, isn't it? So again, they can be made out of sugar paste or they can be made out of air-dried clay, whatever you feel. But we always say, please have one set of moulds for food, another one for your clay, for obvious reasons. £24.97, you're saving £9 off the price. They should be £33.97. And what was the stock update at the beginning of the show? Almost half the stock now. Almost half the stock is gone, and that's live at 12 minutes to 9. This show will be repeated throughout the night and through the morning as well until we go live at 9 a.m. with the next one of these shows. We're live at 7 a.m. with Good Morning Hochanda, of course. Catherine, if she's in by then, she might not be. Hopefully she will be. We'll pop in to tell us a little bit more about it then at 7 a.m. But the next live scheduled show is 9 a.m. tomorrow morning after this one. £24.97 for your one-day special. But if you want them individually, if there's one mould you want, have a little look at the website, hochanda.com. Maybe you want the letters of the alphabet. That's very popular at £12.99. What a price. Great price for all those letters. The look of texture, the look of the kind of texture mat. We've got the round one that looks like the Aida for cross stitch. You've got the button moulds there as well. The butterflies, all designed by Kerry Griffiths, those look. There's the button heart and the button border. And we might be, are we doing that next, did you say, the buttons?
We are, we're going to look at the buttons now. You've also got the sugar button moulds on there, and there's various ones to choose from. I designed the sugar button moulds, and they go perfectly with these flowers as well, if you want to do sort of a nursery theme, so they work beautifully as well.
And don't forget the air-dry clay, which is what you need, is on there as well in white, or you can go for the pack of 3 colours. The white's 200 grams, the pack of 3 colours are 50 grams each.
Right, I'm quickly going to show this. I'm not going to do this because this was in the earlier show. So this was a plaque I made, all done in air-dry clay. So the cross-stitch mat you can use as patchwork in the background. I've actually used one of the knitting design moulds there. It's a texture mat. Details have just come on the screen. You've got 3 to choose from, actually. There's a cable, there's a knitting, and there's a smocking design.
Yeah, I remember those.
And I've used, for the stitching, in between, we've got some card and paper stock on the show, and there's some stickers, some strips that look like stitches, and that's what I've used. I've stuck them over the top of the clay, so it looks like it's been stitched.
I thought for a minute you had stitched it like you were doing
it's a sticker.
Ago.
Now, what I did show how to do that on the earlier shows, so you can get that back on rewind, but also with the cardstock, you can do the same sort of thing with the cardstock. So I've done the patchwork with little pieces of card, and use those stitches again. So you've got the not the cross stitch, you've got the zigzag stitch that's joining the pieces together, and then kind of a blanket stitch around the edge. And doesn't that look effective?
It does, actually. I did a Craft Yourself Silly show with Hayley earlier today, and she was saying that actually it's a real trend at the moment. People are actually using their sewing machines to sew paper and card as well. So that's another option if you haven't got the transfer.
We've seen it in the past, and it kind of disappeared, and now I'm noticing it a lot in the samples. We had Magnolia on earlier. If you look at the samples that Becky brought us, you can see stitching in some of those. It makes such a difference. And your mixed media, you know, using fabrics to make journals and things like that as well. You can, I just love it, how the crossover is emerging between the different trends and the different types of craft as well. Right, now then, Dave, I'm going to do a quick demonstration with this one, with the button mat, and then I'm going to let you use this one as I move on to the heart. Now, there's 2 different ways of working with this one at the very least. So I'm going to show you 2 very quick ways. This, again, is the clay that I coloured at the start of the show, so it's dried off even more now. And I'm going to use this, first of all, as a design mat, using the area as a whole. So once again, go with a piece of clay that you've just rolled out to a point and anchor it down.
I thought we could do them individually, but you can do that.
We can do that. So now you've got to be a little bit careful. Don't put too much pressure on with the rolling pin. That's how sometimes it does stick to the rolling pin and you pull it backwards. So go from the centre and outwards rather than backwards and forwards too much. If you know it's anchored really, really well, then you can be a little bit more heavy-handed with it. Now I can just start to see those buttons coming through, so I know I'm going to stop there. You can see it on the camera. I think if I leave it down, I think you can see it best. Don't let them come through too far because you're making it too thin. But then just to peel away.
Look at that.
Look at the detail there.
That's brilliant.
It picks up every bit of detail. Now you could accentuate that with some ink once it's dried. It's entirely up to you how you use it. Now, what I was saying earlier was if you want to use this with fondant and cupcakes, just get a circle cutter, cut out. That's the top of your cupcake done. It's covered in icing with buttons all over it. Again, you could use, with the clay, use a die just as a template. If you want to make a circle, you can do that as well. And you are completely correct, Dave. You can also go individually into those buttons as well if you want to do that. So I'm going to let you do that. I'm going to put you a little bit of corn flour in there.
Fabulous.
and I'll give you that blue. I'm going to keep a little bit. I've got some more clay here that's gone quite dry now, but let's just see. I'll give you a few more. You can have a bit of pink as well.
Okay.
And you can have some green. There you go.
Cool.
Is that enough, do you think?
I think so. That'll keep you going.
Okay,
yeah.
that'll keep you going. So you can have that one.
Right.
And I'm going to have this one. Now you've got 3 different size hearts. You've also got individual buttons as well. And I do like mixing the buttons with the flowers because you can put buttons as centres of flowers as well. So,
Oh, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that.
so that looks really nice. And you could go with your thread and actually sew that on. So that would look really nice as well, just to actually sew that button on in the same way as we did the cross stitch. You could do that. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to work on the middle one, just because it's not going to take so long. The small one's a bit too small to demonstrate with, to show you full effect. The big one's going to take too long. So what I'm going to do is start with any of the colours. It doesn't matter which one first. We'll go with the blue first. And I'm just going to pick out 1 or 2 of these buttons, being careful not to overfill each individual area. So I'll go a little bit of blue there. What I'm looking at here is trying to get the buttons filled, but not the same colour next door to each other. It doesn't really matter if you do, but just to kind of space it out a little bit.
You're really going for it, aren't you? Different colours in each.
I'm going to go with 3, 4, maybe even 5 colours here, I think. So I'm just picking out 1 or 2 buttons. I know we haven't got much time left, but this will come together really quickly. So let's have a pink one in the middle there.
The lovely thing is you could be, the worst artist in the world or have no artistic interest whatsoever. Provided you can use your fingers, you can get a perfect result every single time.
You certainly can. It's the mould that's doing all the work for you. And as I said, Katie Sue, they really take their time. They make sure everything's absolutely spot on before they release them. They are. They've won many, many awards over the years. So a little bit of green going in now. So I've got blue, pink, a bit of mint green.
Me too.
I think I'm going to go with... I don't want another green one there, so it's going to have to be this one, I think.
I used to know a floor manager where I used to work before who had a phobia about buttons.
Do you know there's a lot of people have phobias about buttons?
And I never knew that.
I've heard about it a few times. Yeah, it's true. There's quite a lot of people.
And it really affected him. I was there when someone brought a
really?
Yeah, it really affected him badly.
It's a bit like balloons. My daughter's got a phobia of balloons.
Well, I kind of understand that because they could go bang. I understand why people.
She can't even touch a balloon though. It doesn't have to be popped or anything like that. It's just if she sees a balloon, she just can't handle it. It's really strange. I don't know when it started. She didn't used to be like it when she was really small. So I've put a bit of yellow in there as well. So I've now filled, we've got 4 different colours, haven't we? So I am going to work with 5 altogether because white is going to be my final colour. So because I've got the colours individually in there, I'm going to lock them down with the white clay. So just put that right over the top, push that into position, and then we're going to fill the mould up. Because what you're seeing here is the back of the mould. All the detail is down deep in the mould. It's the front that you're going to see when you reveal. And once again, I am going to use a rolling pin. I'm going to be careful because when I did this earlier, I did what you did, Dave, and pulled it out. It worked because it was already ready to come out. But
right.
Just be a little bit careful because you want to make sure that you're picking all the detail up and tidy up the edge before releasing it from the mould.
I've done the green one.
Oh, wow, that looks fab.
So that's all right.
That's worked really, really well. So there we are. So I've just cleaned up the edge of the mould again with the fingertip, and now I can flex and remove the clay. Doesn't that look brilliant?
That looks
I just
fantastic.
love it. I just love it. That is so pretty. And the border you're doing the same way as well. It's just so effective.
Is this one supposed to have bits coming through the back?
Yes. Yeah. You know the posts in the alphabet?
Yeah.
It's the same with the buttons. But to be honest with you, don't worry too much about the buttons because you can easily just use a pokey tool or something just to puncture it.
I thought I'd done it wrong, but then I realised there were the posts
yeah,
in the
you
middle.
might be better just ignoring them in some of them because you'll spend a lot of time trying to expose them and you can sort of deal with it afterwards.
Well, we're literally out of time. We've got about 45 seconds left, so... No pressure.
Well, you've done a green one there, look. There's a green one.
There's a pink one.
There's a pink one. There you go. So that looks good.
Oh,
we'll have to squash a pink one.
Oh, look.
And a blue one as
blue
well.
one with holes in as well. Hey.
Well done.
There you go.
So once again, we can just leave those... You've done a good job there, Dave. That's
Thanks.
really good. Look at that.
That's
Very
like a
nice.
smiley face, look.
It is. A little sunshine with a face on it.
Are you and I back tomorrow at 7 a.m. then? Are you popping in?
Well, I'll pop in and say hello
All right.
with my matchsticks in my eyes.
Good morning, Hochanda. We'll be back at 7 a.m. And of course, this show will be repeated through the night. Thanks for watching. Enjoy
Thank
your
you.
one-day special. Stamp Addicts is on the way next at 9 o'clock, followed by a repeat show of our Katie Sue Designs One Day Special, and then it's Pergamano after that, a bit later. We'll see you bright and early in the morning at 7 a.m. live.